Wait, this is not the right controller. Hold on. Ah, this is the right controller. Look at this. Hello everyone, how are you? This is yours truly, Diabetic Cycling, coming at you once again. Thank you for hanging out with me today. This channel is sponsored by my own damn wallet and brought to you by all y'all's engagements, such as leaving comments down below, liking this video, and ultimately, of course, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already done so. As always, I give you my thoughts and opinions, unbiased, straightforward, because I don't have any loaner things that I need to return to. I don't have to chase any advertising money to keep my dying magazine business. I don't have a bike shop. I'm not a douchey social media influencer trying to shove something down your throat with some kind of an agenda. I'm not any one of those. So hopefully you could trust what I have to tell you. So today we're talking about Zwift Play, the in-game controller that Zwift put out, and I'm actually not going to go dig deep like DC Rainmaker or Llama. And if you want in-depth all the geeky nerdy stuff, they have great videos on these. I'm just gonna touch on a few things that how I feel about, which I will share with you. And throughout the video, I'm just gonna kind of wave this thing around unknowingly. Now, normally when I Zwift, I have an iPad. I run Zwift on my iPad, and it's at it's in a pretty close reachable area right in front of my bike, so I could easily access the menu. I could interact with it just fine. And then as well as when I'm Zwifting, usually I am on my Wahoo Kicker bike. So those of you who know, the Wahoo Kicker bike actually has steering buttons and everything already on the cockpit available. So the steering options that come with these things, I actually don't need to use at all. Now that said, not all of you are on a Kicker bike, nor using iPad directly in front of you. If you are running Zwift on, like for instance, Apple TV, I actually don't know how you would interact with that. Do you use the Apple remote for it? But anyhow, so these things not only give you steering options, but also come with these game controller like buttons that you could interact with the game itself, and I'll talk to you about that. All right, so the left side control looks like that, which basically give you navigational control. Like, so if you hit the top button in game, it invokes the menu, and then then you use left, right, up, and down to kind of navigate different menu items and the sub menu items that you are trying to get access to. Then the right side control, which looks as so, then you have these buttons act like a typical game controllers, right? So you confirm your choice, you back out, things like that. And then I sort of like the Z button, because the Z button drops the ride-on bombs. So those are mainly the controls, and then you have these orange things that aid with the steering and such. I actually don't use these, so I don't know, because again, I steer using the steer options that's actually on my the Wahoo Kicker bike. The controllers mount directly under your hood of your cockpit, and Zwift does offer rubber shim as so that if your handlebar somehow for whatever the reason can't get secure fit with the rubber band to wrap around the handlebar and clamp onto itself, then you could use the rubber shim to get more secure fit. The pairing process was pretty easy and intuitive and quick, actually, no issue there. You first time you set these up, you hit the little Z thing to turn it on and off, and then it goes into the pairing mode and you pair it with your Zwift program and you are good to go. Okay, let's go straight into pros and cons. So let's talk about what's positive. So what I like about these things is these things will provide you with immediate control directly under your thumbs. So as you're riding, as you have them mounted on your handlebar, as you're riding, the buttons are available to you immediately. So it gives you instant access. So like, it won't apply to me since my iPad is just at arm's length reach. But if somehow your setup doesn't involve easier access to the Zwift in-game menu, then these things will come in very handy. And then I don't have much more positive things to say after that, so we're gonna go straight into the cons. Unfortunately, the buttons on the controllers are not as smooth as I would have liked. While they give you very assuring press each time you press on any one of those buttons, to me, they are harder than they need to be. I would have preferred a little bit more smoother interaction with buttons. Could be designed as so by design, I guess, so that you don't invoke accidental pressing of any button while you're hammering on the bike. So maybe that's what that is, but they just don't feel easy to me. And then second negative thing that I will share with you is once these things are on your handlebar, basically they sort of get in the way. When you have your hands on the bar, your thumbs especially have kind of nowhere to go. They can't wrap around the handlebar because these things are in the way. So you end up resting your thumbs as so on each side. And I guess it may not bother you, but I don't care for I don't care for these things just kind of in the way. And I guess you take good with the bad. If you're gonna get these buttons that immediate availability, maybe you deal with a little ergonomic issues. And then finally, those of you with the Wahoo Kicker bike, like with the onboard steering options, the steering things that's available here are just useless. All right, so in conclusion, currently the pricing for these things, $99, which some of you may think that it's expensive, some of you may think that's not that bad. Now, given that it's $99 for the early adopters currently, I think I read somewhere that they're gonna jack it up to $149 at some point. At which point, I am gonna tell you it is not worth it for $149. The functionalities provided by these controllers, I feel, are limited at best, and they ultimately feel somewhat cheap. It's a rubber and plastic affair, and the buttons being so hard to click on, I don't know. It's gonna be hard for me to recommend them to you at $149. At $99, it will depend on your value proposition. All right, so continuing on with my conclusion. Secondly, as mentioned earlier, once these things are on, the real estate space on the cockpit somehow disappears, or at least it hinders, they hinder the operation there because it eliminates a certain hand position, as well as even the ones that you could still get onto, still get in the way. If you have a compact reach handlebar and your hoods are close to you, by the time you get these things on, you basically don't have that much space left like on the top, because you're gonna butt right up against the rear end of this the controls. Finally, this is a long shot and it may not necessarily have anything to do with these, but I wish Zwift would also make available some kind of an API integration for those of you non-technical. API is an application programming interface, where Zwift would allow third-party makers like Wahoo, when they make the kicker bike and they already have all these buttons on board, then somehow use ability to use those and program those buttons so that they could do things like this, like invoke a menu item and all that without these. I think that would be super helpful. And for a final point of my conclusion for this episode, obviously these are 1.0 version 1.0 product. So I'm hoping by the time version 2.0 comes around, maybe the physical form factor could be refined and some more features may be added. And when I say more features, I don't even know what more features you would need, because normally when I'm Zwifting, I'm just sort of spinning and I'm just keeping my body busy. I don't know how much more interaction that I am gonna have with the game itself. I don't even do group chats or any of that junk. So that's sort of my personal opinion. You may agree with me on certain points, or you may not agree with me on some points, and that is okay. Do leave comments what you, if you already have these, tell me what you think. And for those of you that don't have these, let me know. Does this video make you want to go get them? Does this video make you kind of look past them and move on to something else? All right, so that's it for this episode. I've been Diabetic Cycling. You've been awesome. Thank you for sticking around. Keep the rubber side down. Be safe out on the road. Until next time, DC out.